Welcome back to Viking football with head coach Bruce Barnum as we come to you indoors at the Viking Pavilion. Why do we come to you indoors? Because it's pouring rain outside. We got to take care of our producer and the man behind the camera, Grady Titus, who puts all this together. So we came indoors today to talk Viking football. It is Tuesday game week. The Vikings traveling to the University of Idaho this Saturday for a 2 p.m. game that you can watch on ESPN+. And we'll talk about the Vandals in just a moment, but let's review a great road victory for the Vikings last Saturday at Southern Utah. Coach, Portland State winning that game 20-13, and really on the shoulders of some great defensive stands.
It was very proud of the defense. Mike had put together an entire game and got it done all the way to the end, all the way to that last drive, starting on the 90, first and goal from the 9. Proud of them, was fun watching them, and just need to bring that, get a little better each week. Always use some more turnovers and keep that rolling.
And one thing about that game, the Vikings allowed just 267 yards of total offense for Southern Utah. Half of that came in the first quarter on Southern Utah's first 2 drives, and maybe that was a little scary, but then when you looked at the end of those 2 drives, Coach, they had over 130 yards, but they only had 3 points. So your defense bent. It did not break. You got a great interception by Xavier Bell. You forced a field goal on the other possession, and that really kept you in the game, which is important when you're on the road.
It did. You know, anytime you have drives like that and how they're moving the ball in the first quarter, if you come off with a field goal, that's a win. You know, some might be confused why we're celebrating on the sideline when the defense runs off in those situations after giving up some points, but field goals, it's tough to win. If those are touchdowns, you know, from an offensive standpoint, you're feeling better about the day, but they did. It was a bend, don't break. You know, that first quarter, traveling there it took a while, you know, but once we got settled, I thought the defense did a hell of a job of, you know, sticking their foot in the ground, let's go.
And that Viking defense getting a great stop late in the fourth quarter, a first and goal from the 9-yard line for Southern Utah. They had a chance to perhaps tie the game in the closing moments. The defense holds on 4 downs, gets the job done. The Vikings come away with the win. Coach, I want to talk about something that we don't normally talk about very often, but you got some quality special teams play at Southern Utah, and really you've had it all season. And I want to talk about those guys for a minute because they deserve as much credit as the offense or defense might. I'm going to start with Seth Vernon, who ranks 3rd in the nation in punting right now, over 48 yards per punt. He had a 65-yarder at Southern Utah and a 51-yarder. He can really flip the field for you, and that's important to your defense.
He is. Seth actually has such a powerful leg. We have to be careful that he doesn't kick it so far that we can't get down there in time, out kicking the coverage. When that's a problem from a special team standpoint, that's pretty good. So can't speak enough of his maturity, how hard he's worked to get to where he is. He has a booming leg. And, you know, Seth's the type of guy who might be playing a lot of football after this.
Well, we hope he will. And as we move on to the kicking unit, the Vikings unfortunately have lost Cody Williams to an injury. He's had a great couple of seasons at Portland State, but he's going to have to sit out the remainder of this one. So you've moved to Gianni Smith, the backup, and he's done nothing but great things at Southern Utah. He made his extra points. He made a couple field goals, and, of course, in a low-scoring game, very, very important. But it's great to have a guy behind Cody who's stepped right up and performed well.
Can't say enough about that. I mean, stepping in, Sleepy's done a heck. If I was going to be nervous during the game, you would think that would be it. But he's shown confidence to everybody, coaching staff, to the team, all the way down to equipment guys, that he can make it. And he's got a pretty strong leg. So him in those situations, it was still a comfortable, confident sideline sending him out there. Kudos to him. Again, keep that going because he's new to us, you know, but he's doing a hell of a job right now.
All right. Were you about to call him Sleepy? Is that the nickname he has?
I had no comment, Mike. What's the next question?
Okay, let's move on to one more element of the special teams. The Vikings driving down the field in the second half, nearly score a touchdown, but turn the ball over down near the goal line. Southern Utah takes over, and that could have been a really disheartening part of the game, but the defense stepped up, got a 3-and-out, and Southern Utah had to punt it out of their own end zone. And at that point, Bo Kelly takes over on a 30-yard punt return, setting up the game-winning touchdown. And great to see production out of your return unit.
It was. First off, with that stop, coming out, when they're backed up like that, it's the defense's goal to get a 3-and-out, to make them punt from a tight corners, backed up in their end zone. Great to see them do that. They did it again. They went out there a confident group. They were talking on their way out. We got you, to the offense. Don't worry. So to do that and then follow it up with Bo's punt return from the special teams unit. I mean, again, you're right. It put us in the spot to win the football game.
All right, so now we look ahead as the Vikings try to get another road victory this week. They travel to University of Idaho. What we know about Idaho coaches, they played a really tough schedule so far. They faced Indiana, they faced Oregon State, and then they faced a top 10 UC Davis team last week and nearly beat them, losing 27-20 on the road. This is a program that plays good defense, and I also noticed they have a good running game kind of by committee. So tell us a little bit more about the Vandals.
Coach Petrino, anytime I've ever gone up against him, they're hard to score on. Mike, their defense is, they pride themselves in it. Coach Mike Bresky is their defensive coordinator. I've known him for a few moons, gone against him for a few moons, and that's the best way to describe it. They are a hard unit to score points on. We beat them in 19, I believe, when they were here, and offensively, it was for us, it was a muddy game. I mean, we scraped some points out of it, but that's the type of game to expect anytime you go up against the University of Idaho and a Coach Petrino team. But they've got some cats on their defense. Offensively, right now they're throwing 3 different quarterbacks at you. They've got tailbacks, they got big ones, little ones. So it's an interesting puzzle for our defense to try to solve. You kind of have 3 segments to work on this week.
Yeah, on the running game, 4 different running backs getting quality carries and scoring touchdowns for them. So that'll be a challenge for the Vikings to scheme up on that. A little history, you referenced the 2019 game. The Vikings winning in a shutout, 24-0 out here in Hillsboro. Last time the Vikings were at Idaho, it was a 20-7 Idaho victory. That was in 2018. So a brief Big Sky history between these two schools as Idaho has come back into the league. I presume you expect perhaps a defensive battle again this week.
I do. I like how our defense is playing. I haven't looked that much. I talked to our defensive staff about, what are they doing on offense. I haven't seen on film yet, but they filled me in on that side. But I know their defense. Every week you see them on film. They got overmatched a little bit in the FBS games, speed-wise, but, they played hard. They were getting to the football, and they're an aggressive unit. So the 19 game, it was 0-0 at halftime, if you remember. So that's the type of game I'm expecting. Obviously, I'd like it to be different from our point. I'd love to, go on the half at 42 Goose, but against Idaho, that doesn't happen.
All right, as we look ahead on the road, Coach, another long bus drive. Keys to victory this Saturday.
Field position. In a game like this, I'm thinking field position. If both defenses are playing well, let's get that field position, maybe, get a 3, get a tray ball, field goal, and then get a turnover and sneak a touchdown. That's what I'm expecting. And again, we reference Seth on that and Gianni right now. I like the tools we have going in to do that. Don't get me wrong, they have a hell of a kicker also, but sneak some turnovers on the road, be able to run the football. And defensively, special teams control the field position. I think that's what we're looking at this week.
All right, there you have it. The Vikings on the road again this week at the University of Idaho. Kickoff is 2 p.m. You can see the game on ESPN+. For all your information on Vikings football, go to govikes.com.